Hey everyone, so it's been a while since I've done a pickup video, and this last weekend, Matt and I went to Midwest Gaming Classic. Unfortunately, Greg and Mike weren't able to join us, so it wasn't a big hoorah like we had last year where we got to hang out, stay late, have drinks with a few people, and just kind of hang out. We made it a very quick trip. We were only there from the morning to about mid-afternoon. But we got to see some, the usual crowd. We got to say hi to Doc from Galloping Ghost, who brought along the actors from the original Mortal Kombat movie. So it was kind of cool to see them. Of course, we stopped in and said hi to the guys at Star World's Arcade, and we got to go play some pinball for a while. And of course, we hit the vendors area, which it was the same size as it was last year. Of course, it just, as always, you get more and more people coming to this convention, so it grew member-wise, or at least attendee-wise, probably a little bit more than last year. I can definitely feel that the vendor area was a lot more crowded. It was a little more organized, better than it was last year, I feel. The deals, I think, this year were a little about the same. I mean, there were some more unique vendors. There was one guy who was selling just untested systems for like $5 that you could just grab, which was kind of unique to see. So people were just grabbing original Xboxes, Dreamcast, PlayStation 2s, left or right. It was like $5, $10. A lot more dollar bins. I spent a lot more time digging through those than I normally do. I wasn't really looking for too much this year. I kind of, at the last moment, said I'm just going to try to go for the Dreamcast variants, which are kind of the all-star versions or the greatest hits versions of Dreamcast games. And the only difference between that is they have an orange spine. So for this is an example. I actually didn't get this at Midwest Gaming Classic, but it is part of the set. You'll see here on the side it says Sega All-Stars. And this is compared to a normal Dreamcast game where it says Sega Dreamcast. So, a little bit of a difference, color-wise, color scheme-wise. But first one was Sega Bass Fishing. Again, I did not get this one at Midwest Gaming Classic. But there are 14 total variants for this set. So, and most of them are sports games, so they're pretty easy to get, and they're fairly cheap, except for like 4 of them, and I'll point those out there here in a minute. But the first set I got, which I kind of overpaid for, was the sports set that was exclusive to Toys R Us. They're still sealed. They're kind of just stuck together. But I got NFL 2K1, NBA 2K1, and World Series Baseball 2K1. So again, orange labels and the wrapper still. Now these also did come packaged with the Dreamcast as part of the sports bundle, I believe. And those are the not for retail version, which I think I do have. So that's kind of different. Next one I picked up was one of the more uncommon variants. That's House of the Dead 2. Again, with just the orange side, pretty much the same stuff. Back's got a little bit different from the original version. One I paid a little bit more for. Again, the contacts when you go in, and vendors end up paying a little bit more than what you would normally find them at a used store. This one, I actually talked the guy down $2. He wanted $17, and I was like, come down to $15. It's like a $10 game, and it's Crazy Taxi. I also picked up NHL 2K, NFL 2K, and NBA 2K. So that alone's like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 9 games already out of 14. So that was pretty tremendous that I ended up finding all those just there at that convention. For kind of shits and giggles, I also found for $5, somebody had the Game Shark cheat codes, new, still wrapped, which is another variant in of itself. I think there's like a long box version too. I'll have to double check, but I want to say there was a long box version too of that. So that's kind of a variant. One, again, that I did not get at Midwest Gaming Classic, but I did get the same day. And it was a game that I kept seeing at like 5 different booths. And they were all priced between $20 and $25, which for this game is way too much. It's a common game that you can find for the Dreamcast all over the place. There's the original retail version, there's the not for resale version, there's the limited edition version, and then you have the All-Stars version. And that is Sonic Adventure, which I was no way going to pay $20, let alone $25 for. As funny as it was, when Matt and I got home, Matt decided to stop off at Disc Replay in Rockford, and funny enough, they had a copy there, and it was only $12, which was amazing. That's a good price right there for that. So that's pretty much, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 out of the 14. So the 4 I'm missing are Hydro Thunder, Virtua Tennis, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and Power Stone, which the last 2 are probably going to be the most difficult ones to find. I've only ever seen 1 copy of each, and they were at Midwest Gaming Classic last year. So we'll see. Hydro Thunder I should be able to find used somewhere, either Craigslist or eBay. And I think I'll have the same type of luck too with Virtual Tennis, because those are 2 common sports games and racing games. So, but aside from those, I also picked up some random things. I found a aqua blue Japanese VMU, which is going to look like a regular blue, but trust me, it's aqua. And it's the Japanese because there was never an aqua color released in the US. They also had a Godzilla variant and a neon pink one. I did find 2 yellow VMUs. Of course, one without the cap was going for $98. And the one with the cap, the guy was asking for $112 for a memory card. Insane. I can't even put it into words how stupid that is to a degree. I mean, $100 for a memory card? Really? No. Aside from that, when Matt and I first arrived at the vendors area, the first booth we went to had a bunch of Japanese imports for the Saturn and Dreamcast, Famicom, and all that stuff. Complete Japanese import booth. Got around the corner, was trying to wave down the vendor guy because there happened to be a copy of Dead or Alive for the Sega Saturn that I actually really wasn't really looking for, but it's a game that was kind of on my hit list to find. If I ever find it, I want to snag it. Well, there it was, and it was, $20. Great deal, great. I don't have to pay for shipping or taxes. I wanted it. Well, sure enough, as I'm trying to wave down the vendor guy, he comes around with another guy who's suddenly pointing to all these. He's like, I want that game, that game, that game, that game, that game. And the guy comes up with like 7 or 8 games. And of course, one of them he snatches right out from me is the Dead or Alive game. Really sucks. It's like you're so close, and some guy comes in, swoops in, and just snatches it right from you. Unfortunately, that's how those conventions go, is you gotta be quick. Thankfully, before Matt and I left, we did one more round around the place, and I spotted at one booth towards the middle and the back, they had some import Saturn and Dreamcast games that weren't put on the table. They were just stacked up and kind of pushed in a corner. And I asked about it, and they said, yeah, we didn't have room up front yet to put them. They were kind of waiting for the end of the day or Sunday to put them out, because not many people are really looking for a lot of imports, or aren't willing to pay, because some imports can be more expensive. They weren't badly priced. The bad thing, though, was they had a lot of the import games I really wanted for both Dreamcast and Saturn. They had Street Fighter 03 for the Dreamcast, Capcom vs. SNK 2 for the Dreamcast, Advanced Geo Fighters, which was a all-girl fighters for the Saturn, and a couple other Saturn imports that I was just drooling at getting. Unfortunately, I was low on cash already at that point, and I started negotiating with the guy, and I got 2 games that were actually on my hit list of all time to find or grab if I ever happened to come across them, and not pay for online prices. The first game is Vampire Chronicles for the Dreamcast, which was a mail-in game back in the day that you could only get in Japan. This one's unique because it just has a white backing, but it is complete. I don't have the spine cover or anything for it, but I don't care about that necessarily. but it's a Darkstalkers game for the Dreamcast, which was a Japanese-only exclusive. This was later released here in the West as Vampire Chronicles Tower for the PSP, and I think later it was sort of, yeah, it's about the only variant of it was for PSP. So we did get this in a sense, but I wanted the Dreamcast version to play on the actual console, so that was really cool. Then the next one I really talked this guy down to. This game goes for around $60 online. I actually paid for less than half of that for this. A game that I've really been hunting for, that's been on my list for a long time, and that's Groove on Fight, which is a wacky Atlas 2D fighter game. It's kind of fun, it's quirky, but I like the art style, and it's always been on my watch list, so I finally grabbed it. So, one more goal done for my Import Saturn collection, which is slowly growing. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of games for it, but I'd like to get some of the other ones, like the SNK games, and I think I mentioned that in a couple past videos. But also, I was there because I was wearing a Sonic the Hedgehog t-shirt. A guy walked up to me and said he's actually seen some of my videos, and he randomly gave me some goodies. So he gave me a Dr. Eggman keychain thing, which I apologize, I don't know your name, so if you do happen to find this video, thank you very much for these. These were really cool. And he also gave me a Eggman mini figurine, which is really cool, because I don't have a whole lot of Eggman stuff in my collection. So this will be put back behind me here in my cabinet, with all my little collectibles. Outside of the Midwest Gaming stuff, I did also finish kind of another goal, which I found, or I managed to get 2 of the remaining Dreamcast demo discs that I've been missing. So I now have all 11 Dreamcast Magazine demo discs, and if I can find where the heck I put that PC Dreamcast disc, I will have all of those demo discs. So once I find that, otherwise, for the time being, I'm going to say, as Curse from Girlfriend Versus says, subset complete. Aside from that, I also managed to find a game, too, that was from a store that was mentioned to me from a good guy that I've watched for a long time, Mastercast video. He also did My Life with Sega. I've talked with him throughout the years. We've kind of talked back and forth online. Really cool guy. I really enjoy his videos. His humor is right up there with mine. So, but he mentioned in one of his videos about eStarlin.com, and it was a site that I'd never tried before. So I'm like, well, I'll give it a shot. Lo and behold, I actually had a game that I was looking for that was on my hit list, and that's Fighting Vipers 2. So I actually got a full copy, and it came really fast. So I had a good experience. So that was really neat. So I thank him for that. If he's ever seeing this, thanks. I know I shouted out to Twitter that it worked, and I was really happy. So I got that game off my list, and I now have all of the Virtua Fighting Vipers games. So that's the arcade cabinet, the American version, the Japanese version for the Saturn, and the one Japanese Dreamcast version. So another subset complete, in a sense. So, other than that, I mean, that's pretty much what I've been up to lately. Things have been slow. The Vita stuff's still coming along. I haven't done a whole lot with that. Maybe I'll do a kind of a recap of up till now. But that's it. I mean, I got nothing else. Sorry about not having a video, again, of Midwest Gaming Classic. I just didn't feel there was enough to put into this. And it was kind of the same stuff that you've probably seen in my past videos, just different vendors and different games. So I really didn't feel it was worth putting in, but hey. Anyway, as always, thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.